Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser G, as we going down to the last week of the 31 Days of Horror. It's time to review the latest found footage film, VHS 99. Now, VHS 99 is a 2022 American found footage horror anthology film. Film segments were directed by Johannes Roberts, Vanessa and Joseph Winter, Maggie Levine, Tyler McIntyre, and Flying Lotus. Now, for this horror anthology, we witness a hellish version of 1999 as social isolation, analog technology, and disturbing home videos fuse into a nightmare of found footage savagery. Yes! Now, I guess you can say starting back with Cannibal Holocaust and then the Blair Witch Project, found footage horror films have become quite popular among horror fans. Whether it's Cloverfield, the Paranormal Activity series, or Record, or RCE, it's a unique subgenre that's not just for horror films, but for films in general. A lot of people do find found footage films very fascinating because, one, it doesn't cost that much to make, production value is not that much, and if you get lucky, like the Blair Witch Project did, you can make a lot of money in found footage horror films. Now, one of the more unique films in this subgenre are the VHS series, created by Bloody Disgusting founder and film producer Brad Muska. Now, first released in 2012, the films, which are presented in an anthological format, I think I pronounced that right, basically shows a viewer watching several VHS tapes, which contains images of supernatural creatures or other horror-related images on them. Basically, like say you have this person, he takes a bunch of tapes, and in those tapes we get to see several segments, whether it's zombie apocalypse, alien abduction, experiments, weird happenings, a whole bunch of stuff that can happen in these tapes that people are watching. Now, since the original VHS was released back in 2012, there have been 5 movies in total, along with a spin off film, 26, Siren, which was from the Amateur Night story from the first VHS film. So, Brad, along with another set of directors and writers, brings us the latest entry into the franchise called VHS 99. Now, obviously, set in the year 1999, we have 5 segments, starting with Shredding, where a punk rock band called Rack is an acronym for the band members Rachel, Encore, Chris, and Caleb record their wild antics for their fans. They do some crazy shit on these films, on these tapes that they record, and they play them for their fans. Sort of like an early version of Jackass. Now, for some reason, they decided to break into the Colony Underground, which was a music venue that burned down 3 years ago after an electrical fire caused the death of the up and coming punk band called Bitch Cat. Now, the band was trampled to death by the fans trying to escape, and now Rack wants to video record them playing a tribute concert in the abandoned venue. Now, despite Ancor's warnings regarding his fears of ghosts, or in his native language, Buta, they play there anyway, which unfortunately leads to disastrous results for the bandmates. Sometimes you just need to pick and choose what crazy stuff you're going to do. In the next segment called Suicide Bid, we see college freshman Lily make a suicide bid. That's where an applicant puts in only one sorority or fraternity for their choice. She does it for the popular Beta Sigma Eta sorority. So the sorority sisters, Annie, Imogene, Lucy, and Hannah, decide for Lily to join them, she would have to be buried alive in a coffin for the night. Oh boy. I don't understand with these people. There's simply no way in the world, even if I wanted to, I'm not going to spend the night in a goddamn coffin. Now, this is meant to create an urban legend with another freshman, a girl named Jitlin, was there to spend the night buried in a coffin 20 years ago, but the event ended in tragedy and no body was ever found. Now, reluctant at first, Lita decides to do the deed, and what happens next will turn into a nightmare for both Lily and the sisters. Oh boy. In perhaps one of the weirdest segments called Aji's Dungeon, we get to see that Aji's Dungeon is a children's game show where the winners get a chance to enter said dungeon and be granted a wish by Ozzy himself. Unfortunately, the latest contestant, a girl named Donna, is seriously injured before she could win, and this leads a path This leads the story down a strange path of events and secrets revealed about the truth regarding the dungeon. Like I said, perhaps one of the weirdest segments in this film. Now, perhaps the best segment in this film is called The Gawkers. We have a group of teenage boys, Kurt, Mark, Dylan, and Bonner, find themselves playing pranks on their neighbors. Another type of early jackass things. Now, they become fixated on an attractive woman named Sandra who lives across the street from Dylan's house. Unfortunately, when the truth about Sandra is revealed, it's bad news for the boys. Should stop doing those peep shows, guys. No, in the funniest and final segment, best friends and videographers Nate and Troy literally have to fight themselves from hell and back. And I do mean that literally. After they're transported into a hell dimension when filming a ritual being conducted by a coven of witches. Yeah, and they really do actually have to fight themselves from hell and back. Now, the one difference you'll see in this film is that there's no wraparound main segment that connects the others, as these are just self-contained stories. It's not like we've seen in the other films where we have, like, say, in the first film, we had this group of gangsters. They go into a break in this house and they watch a bunch of tapes, and that's where we have the segments in. Or in the second one, where we have the private detective and his partner, they're into this house trying to find this missing kid, and she's watching a bunch of tapes. Here, there's no real wraparound in this one. They're all separate videotapes that we're watching here. Now, while we do get to see a stop motion tape play in between the segments, this eventually leads to the Gawker segment, which we find out that Dylan's brother Brady is using his camera to film the stop motion segments with his set of plastic army toys. Now we think that's supposed to be a wraparound, but no, all that is just a lean into the Gawker segment. Now, unlike some of the other films, there's no real standout segment like we had in the other films in this series. But I did enjoy the Gawkers and the Hell and Back, and I would love to see the Gawkers become the next spin-off movie. And to Hell and Back, written and directed by husband and wife team of Vanessa and Joseph Winter, who gave us the wonderful found footage film Deadstream, was such a fun and fascinating segment. I really did like that one, and I like I said, just as much as I love Deadstream, I thought the Hell and Back was a very funny and entertaining segment here. While Ozzy's dungeon was a bit too long, I thought it kind of dragged out a bit. All the acting was decent here, and all the practical effects were excellent. Something which is a staple for this franchise. All the direction is fine, all the acting is fine. The stories are pretty well tied together. Like I said, other than Ozzy's dungeon, which I bit was a bit too long, probably because of what's happening in that particular segment. They're all pretty good here. Like I said, nothing really stand out like say in the Siren segment in the first one. I would say the zombie apocalypse, and I believe the cult, and that one. I thought those two are great segments. And the second one, I have not seen Viral, and I think the last one was '96. I forget what the last one was. They had some excellent segments in this one right here, and most of these segments are pretty good, but there's nothing real stand out. And of course, this is not the end of the franchise, because there's going to be a next film that's going to be VHS 85, so it'll be airing on Shudder in 2023. And the next spin-off movie will be Kids versus Aliens. That's from the Slumber Party Alien Abduction segment back in VHS 2, which will also be streaming on summer in early 2023. So we're going to have another movie, another segment with VHS 85, and of course we'll have the next spin-off movie, Kids versus Aliens. So Brad is going to have his hands full creating more content, as this series really does a fantastic job when it comes to horror anthology. So I'm going to give VHS 99 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. It's pretty good. All the segments are pretty strong. Like I said, Ozzy's dungeon is a bit kind of drawn out a bit. Like I said, I did like the Bonker segment. I did like the Hell and Back. Those are the best two segments in this particular film here. I would love to see them make a spin-off movie off of the Gawkers, because of who Sandra really is. If you've seen that particular movie, you know what I'm talking about. And so there you have it. That's my review and video for the day, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share, because it helps out with that YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way, we notify anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. And I see you in my next video. I'm out.